Hello everyone. So today we'll discuss metabolism of xenobiotics, detoxification. This is just the reading of the chapter. The important topics and their answers will be discussed later in the video. Not in this video, but some other video will be posted which will discuss only the important topics of these chapters. So we'll only go through the reading of this part and see what is in there. Even I am reading it for the first time. So man is continuously exposed to several foreign compounds such as drugs, pollutants, food additives, cosmetics, pesticides, etc. Certain unwanted compounds are produced in the large intestine by the bacteria which enter the circulation. These includes indole from tryptophan, cadaverine from lysine, tyramine from tyrosine, phenol from phenylalanine, etc. In the normal metabolism of the body, certain waste compounds, example bilirubin, are formed. A vast majority of the foreign compounds or the unwanted substance produced in the body are toxic and therefore they should be quickly eliminated from the body. This paragraph says that there are some foreign bodies or some materials which are toxic in a body, so we have to get rid of those. The term detoxification or detoxification refers to the series of biochemical reactions occurring in the body to convert the foreign, often toxic, compounds to non-toxic or less toxic and more easily excretable forms. So what is in there in this chapter? We are talking about a detoxification process. In this process there is a series of reactions which are occurring to convert these toxic materials into non-toxic or less toxic and in more easily excretable form so that they can get out of our body. So detoxification, a misnomer. Detoxification is rather misleading since sometimes a detoxified product is more toxic than the original substance. For example, procarcinogens to carcinogens. It appears that the body tries to get rid of a foreign substance by converting it into a more soluble, often polar, and easily excretable compound, and this may be sometimes associated with increased toxicity. Example, conversion of methanol to formaldehyde. It talks about that detoxification can also be a misleading process. That is, our hope is to convert a toxic material into a non-toxic or less toxic and more easily excretable product, but sometimes it produces such toxic compounds from non-toxic compounds, so it can also be misleading process. In recent years, the term detoxification is replaced by biotransformation or metabolism of xenobiotics. Xenos means strange or foreign, or simply metabolism of foreign compounds. So this term detoxification, it has been thrown away and now we name it as metabolism of xenobiotics or biotransformation. So it will be a better title to this process to convert toxic materials into less toxic. So we have talked about xenobiotics. Xenobiotics are nothing but it comprises of two words, xeno, which xenos means strange or foreign. Any particle or any substance which is foreign to our body is known as xenos. And biotics means the chemical reactions which occur in biology. So xenobiotics. So site of detoxification. The detoxification reactions are carried out mainly in the liver, which is equipped with the enzyme machinery. Kidney and other organs may sometimes be involved. The products formed by detoxification are mostly excreted by the kidneys, less frequently excreted via feces or expired air. So in this paragraph we talk about that all this detoxification process takes place in the liver, mainly in the liver, and also in kidney and some other organs. But when we have to excrete the detoxified products, they are excreted by the kidneys and sometimes by stools like feces or expired air. So now we come into the main of the chapter. I've marked the important topics, some of the important topics. So there's not much in this chapter. This is just a 2-page chapter. So let's complete it. So first topic comes mechanism of detoxification. So in whole of the process, whole of the chapter, we are just talking about the mechanism of detoxification. In this we will study about the oxidation, role of cytochrome P450, which is an important topic. Salient features of cytochrome P450: reduction, hydrolysis, conjugation. Yes, that's it. That's all the main topics we have to study in this chapter. So, first paragraph. The metabolism of xenobiotics may be divided into two phases which may occur together or separately. So, this whole process consists of two processes or two phases which can occur simultaneously or separately or together. So, phase 1, the reactions of the phase 1 are oxidation, reduction, and hydrolysis. And phase 2 are the conjugation reactions involving compounds like glucuronic acid, amino acid, example glycine, glutathione, sulfate, acetate, methyl group. Generally, detoxification of a compound involves phase 1 as well as phase 2 reactions. For instance, oxidation is followed by conjugation is the most frequent process in the metabolism of xenobiotics. So we have till now read that there are two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 1 there is oxidation, reduction and hydrolysis, and in phase 2 there is conjugation, and conjugation involves of many compounds. So at first we will study oxidation process. So oxidation, a large number of foreign substances are detoxified by oxidation. We had already discussed that mainly this is the process which is taking place for the detoxification. So these includes alcohol, aldehydes, amine, aromatic hydrocarbons and sulfur compounds. In general, aliphatic compounds are more easily oxidized than aromatic ones. So in this paragraph we are just saying that there are some compounds like alcohol, aldehydes, amines, hydrocarbons, sulfur and some other drugs which are going this oxidation process. So let's come to alcohols. So in first year we don't have to draw all these diagrams or write these, we just have to remember the names. So we'll only focus on that. So if you are starting from alcohols, these are aliphatic and aromatic alcohols can go under oxidation process to form the corresponding acids. So alcohols are converted into acids. For example, methanol to formic acid. We'll note it one by one together so that we can revise it later on. So first we studied detoxification has two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. Then we studied how many processes these contain. In phase 1 we have oxidation, hydrolysis and reduction, and in phase 2 we have conjugation reactions. Then we have come to oxidation process, and we had said here that alcohols are converted into acids. An example, methanol to formic acid. So this is figure 31.1. It shows that xenobiotics involves phase 1 and phase 2. It can lead to first phase 1 and then phase 2, or directly phase 2, which involves conjugation process, and then they are excreted. So when you are, if the question comes what is detoxification and describe its process, you first write this and then make a diagram, easy diagram of this, so you don't have to write the paragraphs on this. Then there are some few more examples. First we had done methanol to formic acid, ethanol to acetic acid, benzyl alcohol to benzoic acid. If you find any, just learn two of them, methanol to formic acid and ethanol to acetic acid. These two I find very easy, and also the third one is also easy. Benzyl alcohol is converted into benzoic acid. So now we come to aldehydes. These were alcohols, so we are now coming to aldehydes. The aldehydes are oxidized to produce the corresponding acids. Now aldehydes are also converted into acids. For example, benzaldehyde to benzoic acid and chloral to trichloroacetic acid. We have all studied these reactions in class 11th and 12th organic chemistry. So I think you should get that. Now we are writing aldehydes are converted into acids again, and examples: benzaldehyde into benzoic acid, and chloral into chloroacetic acid. So amines and their derivatives. Aliphatic amines are converted into corresponding acids, liberating urea, while aromatic amino acids are oxidized into phenols. So what is happening here? That aliphatic amines are converted into acids, liberating urea, while those which are aromatic, which has a benzene ring over it or any ring, are oxidized into phenols. So we have to learn two examples. It contains aliphatic amine and aniline. So aniline will be aromatic and aliphatic amine is aliphatic, obviously. So any aliphatic amine will give aliphatic acid and urea, but aromatic amines like aniline will give para-aminophenol, so it will give phenols. So we'll write it here: amines and their derivatives. Example: aliphatic amines and aromatic, for example aniline. So aliphatic amine will give aliphatic acid plus urea, but aniline, which is an aromatic amine, will give aminophenol, para-aminophenol. Now we are studying aromatic hydrocarbons. So benzene may be oxidized to mono, di and trihydroxyphenols as shown below. Then also there are sulfur compounds, like organic sulfur is oxidized to sulfuric acids. Then there are drugs like meprobamate is a tranquilizer. It is oxidized to hydroxymeprobamate and excreted in urine. So I don't think we have to learn all this. Just learn alcohol into acids, aldehydes into acids, amines and their derivatives, which are also converting into acids. And now, just for some to increase the length of the answer, aromatic hydrocarbons, you can learn this one. This is very easy, that benzene will form mono, di or trihydroxyphenol. Then there are some others like sulfur compounds, which will form sulfuric acid, and then there are some drugs which are excreted in urine after being oxidized. So let's revise what we have studied in the oxidation process. In this oxidation process, we learned about some few compounds like alcohol, aldehydes, amines and their derivatives, hydrocarbons, sulfur compounds and drugs. These are all converting into their corresponding acids and being oxidized. So in alcohols converting into acids, we write the example of methanol into formic acid, ethanol into acetic acid, benzaldehyde into benzoic acid. In aldehydes converting into acids, we write benzaldehyde into benzoic acid and chloral into trichloroacetic acid. For amines and their derivatives which are giving acids, we name aliphatic and aromatic. So if there is aliphatic amine, it will give an aliphatic acid plus urea, and if it is an aromatic amine like aniline, it will give aminophenol, para-aminophenol. Then aromatic hydrocarbons will, in this we write benzene will can give to mono, di or trihydroxyphenol. Then sulfur compounds will give sulfuric acid, and drugs will be excreted in urine after being oxidized. So this was all in the process of oxidation. Now we come to role of cytochrome P450. So most of the oxidation reactions of detoxification are catalyzed by monooxygenase or cytochrome P450. This enzyme, also called mixed function oxidase, is associated with the microsomes. The usage P450 refers to the absorption peak at 450 nanometer exhibited by the enzyme when exposed to carbon monoxide. So in this paragraph we say that we are studying about cytochrome P450, which has an oxidation power. So cytochrome P450, we say that most of the oxidation reactions of detoxification are catalyzed by monooxygenase or cytochrome P40. So cytochrome P40 is also a monooxygenase. From this name we can say that NASE, that is enzyme, and this enzyme is helping in the process of oxygenase, that is oxidation. It is also known as mixed function oxidase. We'll see it later why it is called mixed function oxidase. And we are also writing that this is named 450 because it has the usage absorption peak its absorption peak is at 450 nanometer wavelength. So that is why we are naming it as cytochrome P450. So in the detoxification processes involving oxidation process, this is the enzyme which is used, and let's move ahead. It is exhibited by the enzyme when exposed to carbon monoxide. This is one more thing. So most of the reactions of cytochrome P450 involve the addition of a hydroxyl group to aliphatic or aromatic compounds, which may be represented as RH plus O2 plus NADPH will convert into ROH plus H2O plus NADP plus. So what we are saying, that this RH is being oxidized oxidized into ROH. So this enzyme has the capability of oxidizing the RH. So salient features of cytochrome P450, these we have to learn by heart. It's a very important question. So it has 7 points. 1. Multiple forms of cytochrome P450 are believed to exist, ranging from 20 to 200. At least 6 species have been isolated and worked in detail. So there are many forms of cytochrome P450. Second point, they are all hemoproteins containing heme as a prosthetic group. So prosthetic group is something which is an enzyme. It is combined with the protein. This is a non-protein part. So the non-protein part is called as the prosthetic group. So this enzyme is a hemoprotein. It contains protein and heme as a prosthetic group. So cytochrome P450 species are found in the highest concentration in microsomes of liver. We had seen that the sites of the detoxification was also in the liver, microsomes of liver. In the adrenal gland, they occur in the mitochondria. So if we are writing the sites, we will write mitochondria of adrenal gland and microsomes of liver. Fourth, the mechanism of action of cytochrome P450 is complex and is dependent on NADPH. So as we had seen this reaction, it involves NADPH. So in every mechanism of involving this enzyme, NADPH has to be there. The phospholipid phosphatidylcholine is a constituent of cytochrome P450 system, which is necessary for the action of this enzyme. Also, one more thing is important, which is phospholipid phosphatidylcholine. 6 point, cytochrome P450 is an inducible enzyme. Its synthesis is increased by the administration of drugs such as phenobarbital. So we are saying that if we have to enhance this process or we have to induce this process, we can induce this enzyme by adding a drug. For example, phenobarbital. This is a drug which can be used to induce this enzyme. 7th and the last point, a distinct species, namely cytochrome P448 with absorption peak at 448 nanometer, has been studied. It is specific for the metabolism of polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Hence, it is also known as aromatic hydrocarbon hydroxylase. So I don't think the 7 point is so much necessary, but we'll write on the earlier points. So at first we write all the names of the cytochrome P450. It is also known as monooxygenase and mixed function oxidase. And then usage, P450 absorption peak is 450 nanometer. Then we had written the point that it is exhibited by the enzyme this wavelength is exhibited by the enzyme when exposed to carbon monoxide. This is the whole first point. Now we'll come to a second point, that it involves addition of hydroxyl group to the aliphatic or aromatic compound. Third point, there are multiple forms of this enzyme ranging from 20 to 200. Fourth point is that cytochrome P50 is a hemoprotein and it has heme as the prosthetic group. Fifth point, that found in microsomes of liver and mitochondria of adrenal gland. Then 6 point we write that it is dependent on NADPH. Then the important constituent for the enzyme action is phospholipid phosphatidylcholine. And the last point, that it is inducible enzyme. This can be induced by which drug? Phenobarbital. So this was all about the cytochrome P450. Now we come to the next reaction, which is reduction. So in reduction, a few examples of detoxification by reduction are given. Just learn few examples like picric acid to picramic acid, chloral to trichloroethanol, nitrobenzene to aminobenzene. I think we will be confused by the chloral, so we are not going to learn that. So if we write the next reaction, that is reduction. So example, picric acid to picramic acid, nitrobenzene to aminobenzene. This was all about the reduction. Not much has been written here. Now hydrolysis. The hydrolysis of the bonds such as ester, glycoside and amide is important in the metabolism of xenobiotics. Several compounds undergo hydrolysis during the course of the detoxification. These include aspirin, acetanilide, diisopropyl fluorophosphate, atropine and procaine. So these are some of the compounds which undergo hydrolysis during detoxification process. So few examples we have to learn are acetanilide converted into aniline and acetic acid, diisopropyl fluorophosphate converted into dialkyl phosphate, atropine into tropic acid and tropine, and procaine into para-aminobenzoic acid plus diethyl aminoethanol. These are so big names. I don't know how we learn them. So let's pick a few easy ones. I'm sure when I'll be uploading the important topics of this chapter, then it will be much easier because I'll be having read it by some few more times. So I will write the easy ones there. So in hydrolysis, we can learn atropine. I found that easy. Atropine, when water is added, because this is hydrolysis process, so water will be added, of course, and it will form tropic acid plus tropine. And another we should learn, I think, acetanilide or acetanilide, I don't know how to say it. We add water to it and we'll form acetic acid because it has acid and anilide. So from acid we'll form acetic acid, and for anilide we'll form aniline. Yeah. The last topic is conjugation. These are just the rough notes. My afterwards notes will be very much better. Please wait for them. Thank you. So conjugation. Several xenobiotics undergo detoxification by conjugation to produce less toxic and or more easily excretable compounds. This is the definition of detoxification. Conjugation is the process in which a foreign compound combines with a substance produced in the body. The process of conjugation may occur either directly or after the phase 1 reaction. At least 8 different conjugating agents have been identified in the body. These are glucuronic acid, glycine, cysteine, glutamine, methyl group, sulfate, acetic acid and thiosulfate. These are some of the conjugating agents. In this paragraph, we have said that conjugation is a reaction in which the foreign compounds will combine with a substance produced in our body. So foreign body plus human body compound will combine together. This is the conjugation process. And these conjugation agents found in the body are glucuronic acid, glycine, cysteine, glutamine, methyl group, sulfate, acetic acid and thiosulfate and sulfate. So we are here referring to glucuronic acid, glycine, glutathione, glutamine, sulfate, methyl group, acetic acid, thiosulfate. So we'll write the examples one by one. We are studying conjugation process, and the first we are studying is by glucuronic acid. Conjugation with glucuronic acid is the most common. The first point, most common. The active form of glucuronic acid is UDP glucuronic acid produced in the uronic acid pathway. So this must be a pathway which has been discussed in chapter 13, and the active form of this glucuronic acid is UDP glucuronic acid. The myelosomal enzymes UDP glucuronyl transferases participate in glucuronide formation. A general reaction of the glucuronide conjugation is shown below. So xenobiotic, when combined with this UDP glucuronic acid in presence of the enzyme UDP glucuronyl transferase, will form glucuronide and UDP will be gone. So certain drugs, example barbiturates, when administered induce glucuronyl transferase, and this increases glucuronide formation. Glucuronic acid conjugation may occur with compounds containing hydroxyl, carbonyl, sulfhydryl or amino groups. Phenol converted into phenyl glucuronide, benzoic acid converted into benzoyl glucuronide, bilirubin converted into bilirubin diglucuronide. In general, conjugation with glucuronic acid produces strongly acidic compounds which are more water soluble at physiological pH and therefore more easily excreted. What we have said till now is that glucuronic acid is one conjugating agent. When it combines with a foreign body, it will convert into a more water soluble form, therefore it can be excreted easily from our body. So in this, whenever we add the xenobiotic, that is the foreign body, to UDP glucuronic acid, which is our conjugating agent, in the presence of the enzyme UDP glucuronyl transferase, this is the enzyme necessary for the reaction, so it will form a glucuronide and will separate the UDP. So we have to learn examples. It's pretty easy, this one. So if we are taking phenol, we will add this UDP glucuronic acid and we will form phenyl, yes, glucuronide, and UDP will be separated. Similarly, if we are taking benzoic acid and we add this UDP glucuronic acid, we will form benzoyl glucuronide and UDP. Are two enough? I will just tell you, bilirubin plus UDP glucuronic acid will give bilirubin glucuronide plus UDP. So next we come to the glycine. Many aromatic carboxylic acids, example benzoic acid, phenyl acetic acid, are conjugated with glycine. So here in the glucuronic acid we said they are hydroxyl, carbonyl, sulfidyl or amino groups. In glycine we just say it's like aromatic carboxylic acids. So these are conjugated with glycine. And hippuric acid is formed when glycine is conjugated with benzyl coenzyme A. This is just an example. So this is the only example, I think. No, there are two more. So we'll write it. Benzyl CoA plus glycine. Benzoyl CoA plus glycine will form hippuric acid. What is hippuric acid's other name? It is benzoyl glycine and CoAsh. Another example, phenyl acetic acid plus glycine will give phenyl aceturic acid. Third, glutathione. Glutathione, a wide range of organic compounds such as alkyl or aryl halides, alkenes, nitro compounds, epoxide, all get conjugated with cysteine of glutathione, and it is a tripeptide glutathione. Glu-cis-gly is an active conjugating agent. So the formation of mercapturic acid depicted in 31.2. So I think for the glutathione we have to draw this flow chart. So we are forming mercapturic acid and using the cysteine group of the glutathione, and the glutamate and glycine of glutathione are removed and an acetyl group is added. So acetyl group is added and the glutamate and glycine of glutathione are released. So glutamate and glycine are released. So how will we write this? We'll write that the formation of the glutamate and the glycine are removed and acetyl coenzyme A is added to the cysteine residue to form mercapturic acid from the glutathione. We'll write it. The glutamate and glycine of glutathione are removed and an acetyl group is added to the cysteine residue to form mercapturic acid, sorry, mercapturic acid from glutathione. Next comes glutamine. Phenylacetic acid is conjugated with glutamine to form phenylacetyl glutamine. So, a phenylacetic acid, glutamine, we put glutamine in it to form phenylacetyl glutamine. Conjugation with glutamine is, however, relatively less important. This is less important, but still we'll write that this phenylacetic acid is conjugated with glutamine to form phenylacetyl glutamine. Then comes methyl group. The methyl group CH3 of S-adenosyl methionine, that is SAM, S-adenosyl methionine. This is a very important question which we will discuss in some other chapter. It is frequently used to methylate certain xenobiotics. From its name we can see methyl group, it contains methyl group S-adenosyl methionine, and this is catalyzed by the enzyme methyl transferase. This enzyme is used in the process of the conjugation with the methyl group. So example is SAM plus a xenobiotic in presence of a methyl transferase will form S-adenosyl homocysteine. It will form a homocysteine, and methyl group will be added to the xenobiotic group. So what we'll write, that S-adenosyl methionine plus xenobiotic in presence of methyl transferase will form S-adenosyl homocysteine plus a methyl group added. Then comes sulfate. So the active form of sulfate is 3-phosphoadenosine 5-phosphosulfate, PAPS. 3-phosphoadenosine 5-phosphosulfate. This participates in conjugation reactions, and the enzyme sulfotransferase is involved in this process. Several aliphatic and aromatic compounds undergo sulfation. So it involves aliphatic and aromatic compounds in which, with the help of sulfotransferase enzyme and obviously PAPS, we form a sulfate. For example, phenol plus PAPS in presence of sulfotransferase will form phenyl sulfate, and PAP and the remaining PAP. So S is added here. PAPS, from PAPS the S is added here and PAP is here. This is a very bad way of remembering. Please ignore this. So sulfate. In sulfate we'll write just the example, phenol plus PAPS. If you can remember, it's very good. 3-phosphoadenosine and 5-phosphosulfate, sorry, in presence of sulfotransferase will form phenyl sulfate plus PAP. This PAP is phosphoadenosyl phosphate, because sulfate has gone here. Then we come here in the blue box, biomedical concept and clinical correlates. The conjugation is not finished yet. There are two more: acetic acid, thiosulfate, and another topic, that is detoxification by drugs. So we'll just cover this clinical first. This clinical says the body possesses the capability to get rid of the foreign substances by converting them into more easily excretable forms. So this, we are talking about the detoxification process. Obviously, we said that it's a capability of our body to get rid of the foreign substances in a more easily excretable form to throw out of the body. So detoxification is not necessarily associated with the conversion of toxic into non-toxic compounds. For instance, methanol is metabolized to form a more toxic formaldehyde. As we said earlier, that detoxification can be misleading. It's a misnomer also. We are also converting a non-toxic to a toxic by detoxifying. For example, methanol to formaldehyde and those pro-carcinogens also. Detoxification primarily occurs in the liver through one of the more of the reactions, namely oxidation, reduction, hydrolysis, and conjugation. These are the phase 1 and phase 2 reactions, and the site of detoxification is the liver. British antilviside, I don't know what is it, BAL, a compound developed during Second World War, was used to detoxify certain war poisons. Okay. Now we come to acetic acid. So acetyl coenzyme A is the active form of acetic acid that takes part in conjugating reactions. Drugs such as sulfonamide are converted to acetyl derivatives. So I think this one, acetic acid one, is important because I've already marked it with a blue pen. So we'll write it here. Acetic acid, in which acetyl coenzyme is active form, and the example will be sulfanilamide plus acetyl coenzyme A will give acetyl sulfonamide. I don't know how to pronounce this, so please, I'm sorry. Acetyl sulfanilamide plus the remaining quash. Last is this thiosulfate. The highly toxic cyanides are conjugated with thiosulfate. To form less toxic thiocyanate. So cyanides to thiocyanates by adding thiosulfate. So it's a pretty easy reaction. We can learn it just like this. Cyanide plus sodium thiosulfate will give thiocyanate plus sodium sulfate. So cyanide plus thio will give thianoside and sodium sulfate. Now comes the last topic, which is detoxification by drugs. It may be surprising to know that some drugs are administered to detoxify foreign bodies. The toxic effects of certain metals such as arsenic, mercury, and cadmium could be overcome by administering BAL, British antilviside, that we studied in this clinical correlation. This compound was developed during the World War II and was used as a detoxifying agent for certain war poisons. The mechanism of action of BAL is not clearly known. It is believed that BAL readily combines with metals and get easily excreted into urine. So in World War II, they used this drug to detoxify metals and they can easily get excreted from the body. So they use this. Very intelligent of them. Summary: detoxification deals with a series of biochemical reactions occurring in the body to convert the foreign, often toxic compounds to a non-toxic or less toxic and more easily excretable forms. Liver is a major site of detoxification. In recent years, the term detoxification is replaced by biotransformation or metabolism of xenobiotics. Then detoxification may be divided into phase 1, which consists of oxidation, reduction and hydrolysis, and phase 2 reactions, that is conjugation. Oxidation is a major process of detoxification involving the microsomal enzyme cytochrome P450, which is an inducible NADPH dependent hemoprotein. So this is a very good line which covers 5 points of cytochrome P450. This is an microsomal enzyme. It is inducible, NADPH dependent hemoprotein. The last is conjugation, is a process in which a foreign compound combines with a substance produced in the body. The process of the conjugation may occur either directly or after phase 1 reactions. At least 8 different conjugating agents have been identified in the body: glucuronic acid, glycine, cysteine, glutamine, methyl group, sulfate, acetic acid, thiosulfate. We have covered all this in the chapter. Thank you.